Hello, my crafty friends. It's Marie from Marie's Vermont Creations, and today I'm going to bring you the June 2020 Simon Says Stamp Beautiful Butterflies card kit, and then I have a few card samples that I have made. So we're going to quickly run through all of the products that came in this month's kit. I honestly am not sure if it's still available. You got some Gina K Glitz Glitter Gel, these great thick letters from Tim Holtz. They're quite... I'm going to open them up just so you can get an idea of how thick they are. I didn't end up using those today, but I think they would be great for mixed media projects. You got a coupon code in there, a stencil of butterflies and the kind of their dotted trail, some Tim Holtz stickers with different sayings on them, and the pattern paper. I'm going to flip through these. A lot of these had great sayings on them that could just be cut into or framed, or I don't know, they were beautiful and I had a hard time cutting into them. And there were also some cut aparts, which I did use one of those today in one of my projects. But there are some pretty florals and just some great sayings. And this is 6x8 pattern paper, Simple Stories, Simple Vintage Garden it's called. The stamp set is a 6x8 stamp set called Beautiful Butterflies. There's some great sentiments and pretty butterflies in here. You get your idea sheet, and then you get your cardstock, and the colors are cotton candy, slate, ivory, and lemon chiffon, and one piece of the 100-pound. Nope, sorry, no white. I lied. So to get started on my cards, I'm taking a piece of vellum and I am inking up the butterfly stamps that came in the stamp set in Gina K amalgam ink, and I'm going to stamp these a few times. For some reason, that upper butterfly did not want to stamp in the middle, so it took me a little bit, but I got that finally pushed down. I am going to heat set this because it's vellum, and it's a black ink that tends to take a little bit longer to dry, and I am famous for smearing them, so I recommend you heat set this or set it off to dry. Give it some time. It does take quite a while because it is a slick surface. Then I took this over to my new scan and cut and have cut those out. I messed up one or two of them, so I didn't end up with all of the butterflies, but I ended up with enough for the projects that I had. I am taking the yellow polka dotted pattern paper, and I have that slightly smaller than the card front, and I'm just adhering that down with some tape runner. Then I've taken one of the cut aparts, which has two little butterfly images and some flowers on it, and I'm adhering that to a black mat. The paper's from Brutus Monroe. It was just something that I had in my stash. Then I'm going to take one of the vellum butterflies. After I adhere it with some foam dots first, I'm going to put some of these little foam squares all over the back. I end up using 9, peel off the back of those, and I will get that to the center of this card. Then I will take some art glitter glue, and I'm just going to run a strip of it down the center of the butterfly where the body is, which will, 1, hide the glue, and 2, leave it so that the wings are able to be lifted. And I took the smallest butterfly of the ones that I had stamped out, and I'm going to set it over this yellow butterfly so it gives it kind of a see-through, you can still see the yellow butterfly underneath it, but yet the wings are lifted. It gave it kind of a cool effect. So that's going to be that card project that we're going to be all done with. Then I'm going to take the stencil and I am going to use some painter's tape, which what I should do, and I know better, and I do it every time, I should take this painter's tape and stick it to my pants a few times to get it to not be so sticky, because when I go to remove it later, I do tear but thankfully it's the back of my paper. I also adhere it to my glass mat so it doesn't shift everywhere. And then I am going to take various distress inks. I have the cubes, and I am going to, in rainbow order, work my way up this panel. So I'm going to use picked raspberry, what's the orange color I use? Pumpkin. Carved pumpkin. God bless, I'm not going to be able to think of all these colors. I will link them in the description box below, all of the colors that I used. And then I also did end up taking out my distress oxides to do all of my stamping with. But like I said, I am mixing them together. I've done some yellow. I'm going to then... There's some left on this one butterfly. Then I am going to now take the lucky clover and I'm going to continue that butterfly and move up to the next one. So it's kind of a two-tone butterfly. And then salty ocean and seedless preserves, I believe, is the purple color that I use, because it's not a complete rainbow unless there's some purple at the end. And then I'm going to wipe off the stencil so that the excess ink that's just kind of hanging out on the top I can remove that because as you can see, I've got it all over the stencil. And then I'm going to take the Gina K glitch gel, and I am going to take my palette knife, and I ended up taking too much, so I wasted some of it, but note, just start with a smaller amount, because once you put this over the distress inks or distress oxides, they're water-based, so they are going to reactivate with the glitter gel, so your glitter gel will be stained, and you don't want to put that back in your jar, especially since it's a beautiful white. So I took that to the sink and got that all washed up. So then I decided that I wanted to use the Beautiful Friend sentiment. I'm going to peel off the tape right here, and you can see I ripped that cardstock, but like I said, it was in the back, so I was able to save this piece. Nobody is the wiser except for you guys. So I do have to let that dry, but then I come and I put that in my mini Misty, and I'm going to take the Beautiful Friend sentiment from the stamp set, and I'm going to put it in the upper right hand corner. If I were to do it again, I'd probably put it more in the middle open space, or I would have shifted my stencil a little bit so that more of the card would have been taken up. But I am going to use Picked Raspberry and stamp this down twice. Then I am going to take one of the smaller sentiments from the stamp set and stamp that underneath in the orange color that I used. And I still felt like I had too much white space. For some reason, I could have left it. I'm sure it was fine. I didn't have any Nouveau drops or something that I could have filled it in with. But for some reason, that large amount of white space was bugging me. So I took one of the smaller butterflies, and I'm going to stamp that down in Squeezed Lemonade multiple times. And then I took cracked pistachio, and I just kind of rocked it around the edges of the butterfly, and so that it gave that one a two-tone effect, which was, it worked out really nicely. I like the way that it looked. The only thing, I needed to let it dry, because I think I may go back and add some glitter pen to it so that it's shiny like the rest of them, because all of those other butterflies have all of this sparkle, and so we don't want this one butterfly to be left out. And then the last card that I am going to make, I will get this on a regular card base. I use some art glitter glue to glue that down, and that is going to be that card. It's quick and simple, but has a lot of, ooh and ah factor with all of the sparkle. For some reason, I don't know if it's my distress pads or if it's when I clean a stamp, and I ended up with this chunk of fabric of some kind that was on my butterfly that I had to pick off and not make a mess, which fingers crossed that it worked out well. So I'm going to get that put away, and like I said, get this adhered to my card base with the liquid glue. And then my last card is super simple. It is using another piece of the pattern paper from the kit. I'm going to adhere that down. I am going to take the remaining 3 butterflies that I had cut out with my Scan and Cut on the vellum. I'm going to run the glue down the backs of them so that their wings are also lifted up. And of course, why is it always when you're filming you run out of tape runner? So I had to haul out the ATG and get this panel glued down. It's very pretty. It's got some pink and very pretty flowers in it. So then I'm going to get the butterflies adhered down, and then I take the Thinking of You sentiment, I stamp it down on a scrap of white cardstock, and then just use my scissors to cut that out. And I do use 3 little foam adhesive squares to pop that up, just to give it a little dimension. You could also take the Nouveau shimmer pen and put that on your butterflies as well. If you wanted them to have a little color, you could color the backs of them with your markers, and that would show through the front to the vellum. That would give it a little bit of a different texture for all of these. So that's the kit this month. I would check the Simon Says Stamp website to see if that it's still available, or if parts and pieces of it are still available. I really enjoyed this one. I think I'm going to get a lot of use out of it, much more than last month's card kit. So I'm very excited to keep making some projects with this. Stay tuned. On Monday, we will have another masculine card Monday set up for you. This one is going to be focused on Father's Day. So as always, I hope that you have a great day.